You are good to start when ready. You're good.
Don't know.
All right, good morning, everyone. Call to order the August PR&G meeting. Our time is 9 a.m. All right, I don't think we have any remote participation unless we're just going to go ahead and move forward with that. First up is to adopt the agenda as published. I'll make a motion to adopt today's agenda.
Oh, yeah.
So moved. Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next up is the adoption of the previous meeting minutes from both June and July are published. I know we didn't have a July meeting, but we did make note in that, and then the June meeting was well captured. Make a motion to pass and adopt the previous minutes from June and July. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passed. Public comment. Do we have anyone here for public comment signed up for today? Okay, we'll keep moving on. All right, next up is unfinished business, and that we will start with Tyler on the Parks and Greenway Master Plan update. Now you have lots of time since you don't have to run out to the Marvin.
And thanks for the rain,
Hey, man, that's what I do. We needed it. If you ever need rain, just let me plan something. Yeah, so Parks and Greenways Master Plan update. The RFQ had been advertised about a month. Bids were due and turned in yesterday. We did receive them, so we'll go into reviewing those and hopefully have a firm selected in the next, but not this upcoming meeting, but hopefully in one of the next 2 or 3 council meetings. And then that will all happen pretty fast, so that work needs to be done in June of 2026 by then. So you guys will, on their schedule, you guys will end up seeing this RFQ brought to you guys as a draft, and then you guys will have the chance to recommend changes and stuff, and then it'll come back again as a final for you guys to see. And then y'all, the final that PR&G sees and recommends and approves will go to council, and that will be their first draft at it, y'all's suggested. So this is all going to happen pretty fast. It's going to be a update basically on our current Parks and Greenways master plan. Just new ideas. There's going to be all types of things. We're going to talk about Village Hall Park that'll, is now about to also be in construction. New programming ideas. It'll talk about potential land acquisitions. It's just a whole overview and kind of a new not a new direction, but kind of assistance for the Parks and Recreation Department to move towards. So that is coming down the pipeline. That's all going to happen pretty fast. So they'll be working on that once the firm gets selected, and it'll only be a couple months away before y'all see it.
Tyler, did you say how many responses we received?
We did. We received one.
Okay.
We received one, and it was it was a request for qualification. So we did got it. I don't know if I can say who we received it from, but we yeah. So we'll go put that in the matrix, and we'll review it, and we've kind of assembled a steering working group to kind of help with the process of the RFQ.
I was going to say, Tyler, first, great job on putting that RFQ out there, but it was great to see because all the input that we did from Jen's facilitating this past 6 months was able to put into the questions, and I think that was really excellent because it was more current with kind of the ideas that this group had put together. So, just looking at that first proposal or RFQ that came in, they definitely incorporated, obviously they would, the things that we had put out there. Not obviously, but no, well, they want to address our things. I'm not saying obviously because they want since they want the job, they at least acknowledge the things that this group put together. So that was a good start.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think as you were saying, Tyler, time-wise, we're also going to incorporate the village survey that's going to go out in, I think, the November timeframe.
It will. So the firm that does get selected will be given the survey results. I believe we have that marked as around December, January for them to receive it. So the input of residents does, matter. So.
And we also included a request that they hold a public input session as well. So they'll facilitate something that's open to all residents of Marvin to get, again, additional specific feedback for PR&G, which I think will be very valuable.
Absolutely. There's 1 or 2 specified dates to hold public engagement, public input meetings. So if you have any feedback, please come join, fill out your survey, come to the input meetings.
Just an update on the survey since we're at it. It's expected to launch in mid-September, be open for 2 months, and then over the holidays, our vendor, Central Lina, will be compiling those results, and we'll give a presentation in January.
Okay, so time's well with this, and as you said, Tyler, that it's going to carry into next year, the planning document, and then we'll be bringing back updates on a monthly basis to this group.
Yep.
And that we're going to have from our little steering committee, so they'll have a chance, so everyone here will have a chance to start to see what's being formulated.
Absolutely.
Any other
Sure.
questions on that?
Yeah, anybody got anything on? Cool.
Okay. All right, next up, on our new business, I don't know, we have any new items, so let's go ahead with our regular updates and reports. And next up, again, Tyler, on upcoming, past events and future. We did have a couple of the car show and.
Yeah, have we met? Yeah, maybe we have.
It's been 2 months, so.
Yeah,
2 months.
it did not rain. That's huge for a car show. So we had a lot of fun. That happened on June 21st. Their first Marvin Car Show, just standalone event out at Marvin Eford Park. Partnered up with some really great people from First Class Cars, which is a dealership in Charlotte. The owners live locally, so they helped out a ton. They brought in 10 of their own vehicles. They helped spread the word out. They had videographers out there, and there's some awesome shots from the park, some videos and everything. I'll have to get that out to you guys. But it was a lot of fun. We ended up with like 100 cars there. I mean, it was a casual morning. We did it from 8 to 11 on a Saturday before it got real good and hot. It was actually pretty nice that day. It wasn't miserable. It was before it got miserable. But yeah, that's definitely something fun. We're actually, speaking on car shows, we're going to do it again November 8th. Looking at the calendar, yeah, we're going to do a fall one November 8th. It'll be from 8 to 10. We'll do it for 2 hours in the morning in November. Hope it's a little bit cooler, kind of crispy outside. It'll be the same deal, kind of classic cars come. We had a really good mix of classic cars, and we had got like imports. Like there was a group brought a bunch of Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff that was really cool. And now since the park's paved in those parking lots and stuff, it really really helps with that event. It really attracts. People aren't scared to bring it down the gravel driveways and park in there. We did have people park in the grass, and they were fine with it, and it kind of opened up and made a great way for people to walk through and kind of loop around. We had coffee and breakfast, food truck, and vendors and stuff like that, so it was a lot of fun.
Just wanted to share some feedback that I got from a resident that did attend. And there's somebody that, goes to these car shows, on a somewhat regular basis, has some cars themselves. But he commented that, many times you go to these car shows and basically it's just the car dudes.
Yeah.
But that, one of the things he was excited about is that this was more of a family event, that, there were a lot more kids there and stuff like that came with their parents and things,
Right.
that he just saw as kind of piquing, interest at a young age and things. But he made that comment. I just wanted to share that he thought it was, a little bit different, and kind of unique in that way. And, maybe there's some things we can do to continue to foster that, if that's, kind of a hole that people see in some of the current ones.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was cool. I was curious myself. I'd never really put one on before, and then to see people, people pull in and they're in their hot rods and they park, but then we'd just have a minivan full of people come and they'd park just to get out and walk around. So it was cool to have a whole bunch of families and stuff.
So Deb did just join us. If someone could give a motion to allow remote participation.
Okay, we have a remote participation from Deb Okel, made the motion.
I move to allow Deb to participate remotely.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion passed. Welcome, Deb. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Tyler, and a second, John, the feedback I had, and it was just great to see a variety of folks. Tyler, there was also a group of women doing exercise in the barn, or not women, just adults doing exercise in the barn at the same time, which brought another,
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so ISI is a local business right down there at Publix, and their owner, Mallory, and the owner of the dealership that we partnered with are good pals, and they ended up kind of like tagging all, Mallory and Cassie kind of got together to help me with this, and Mallory basically offered to throw a big workout class for ISI and guests to come in the barn to kind of kick off the event bright and early in the morning, and that added 100. I mean, you saw they had it packed out, running around, and a lot of those guys and girls stuck around for the car show and stuff. So that was definitely a cool aspect. It was a cool morning. So definitely come check it out in the fall. It'll be cool too.
Tyler, I think one other feedback I got was some of the neighbors, at least in our community, some have, like you said, some of them have older MGs or cars like that. Perhaps we could also maybe have a section for like Marvin, resident cars. I mean, just because maybe to encourage more folks to bring their cars out who maybe they don't normally go to a car show, but because they're kind of taking stock of their own vehicles. Did we do much of that as far as, not everybody's got a car like that, but there are some interesting ones. Even Joe was saying wasn't Joe saying that he had?
Joe's got
Yeah, I think word gets around in those
Right, I guess if
places
you're in that community.
pretty quickly. They've got all their own social media groups and stuff like that. And I think that's why they tend to be so successful, wherever they do those type things. But yeah, we can certainly, try to emphasize that.
Well, I think on the publication stuff, on the newsletters that went out, like on email, people were invited to sign up to bring their cars. I think
Yeah.
we just maybe need to get that element of the word out
Right.
maybe more, or they just
I'm
weren't
just thinking
aware.
to kind of make it a little more of a community piece too, right? That if you aren't, but again, I don't own or know that cycle. You didn't let me bring my. I don't want my Tacoma. We can do the Tacoma lot. Let's do that, like the old Tacoma lot.
I say I keep my truck much longer, and it will be a classic. Anyway.
Okay. Sorry, Tyler. All right, that was the one event, but you also had some other things going on, the current trail
Yeah.
hunt?
I'll lead with, so National Night Out was supposed to be tonight. We're going to postpone National Night Out for 2 weeks, and we'll do it on August 19th. We're getting the word out on socials. There'll be signs posted at the park. We're going to update our banners and everything, reaching out to everybody we had coming. So hopefully we still get the same kind of good law enforcement and EMS turnout we were going to have this evening in 2 weeks. But we'll do it Tuesday the 19th, same deal. Law enforcement, EMS, first responders will be there. Kids come out, families come out. We'll be serving free food, lots of hot dogs, all you can eat hot dogs. And yeah, we'll just have another fun evening. There's another person I need to. Yeah, so National Night Out, August 19th. Be there. Some other stuff going on that's been going on this summer. The month of July, we partnered up with Union County Parks and Rec, did the Park Passport Program again for the second year. Great turnout. They'll probably in a couple of weeks, they'll send me some feedback. Last year, they'll kind of tell us the results from the passports, like how many people we had at our park, and people give feedback on the they'll hold a survey and people give feedback. Last year we had great feedback about Marvin Eford Park, mainly due to Davey and the guys taking such good care of it. People loved that walking trail. But yeah, so we did that, and that's kind of incorporated every park in Union County.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that. Could you maybe give background? So this is a Union County initiative about parks? What was that?
Yeah, so from July 1st to July 31st, Union County Parks and Rec kind of gets with all the surrounding towns like us and Indian Trail and Marshville, and you can stop at all these parks and there'll be like a little passport booklet, and we mounted, like ours was mounted on the barn, and we get a specific hole punch stamp, and you get one from us, and then it kind of incentivizes people to go to all the surrounding parks, and you go get your stamp, and then you turn the stamp into Union County Parks and Rec, or turn your passport into Union County Parks and Rec, and you were entered for prizes. So it was a cool thing. They started it last year. It's just a quick, short month to kind of get people out and about and in different parks.
And they can, when they give you information back, they can tell you where those people came from. I mean, do they have demographics on those people, or they just give you a number?
No,
sure
there
why
was,
that.
it's like a spreadsheet. I'd have to look at the one from last year. I haven't got the one for this year. It was a spreadsheet with like a lot of info, like people would like, I think it was like where you came from, feedback on the park, like there was like a type in section, and they'd rate, like they'd score your park and stuff like that. So last year's was good. Like, we were getting a lot of, yeah, dang right.
You said you do have that now, Tyler?
Not yet.
Not
I
yet.
don't have the feedback. I have last year's feedback, but we don't have.
The program probably goes through the end of the year, I mean, the end of summer. summer, no?
No, it's just for the month of July, 'cause
Just month of July.
yeah, July's National Parks and Rec Month, so that's just kind of a way to get it outside.
Okay.
Maybe we can add that to next month's agenda if you actually have the data. we can
Yeah,
go through
yeah, no, I'll definitely bring it back when I get it. And then another thing, kind of outdoorsy, that we're up to that started last week, and it's running through August. We are doing a little trail scavenger hunt here around the village. We have keychains with owls on them, and they're hidden all around. And find them on the trail, bring them in here in our lobby. We have a table full of prizes. We've already had 20-some people bring them in.
How many are out there? Give or take?
80.
80?
There,
So you still have a chance?
Oh, there's plenty of chance, and there's more going out the next time it's dry.
It's a deeper in the park. I saw the sign here too, right? The trail here?
Yeah, so there's some at the Loop at the park. They're on the Preserve, they're on Tullamore, Amber Meadows. They're all around. If you see, if you see a yard sign at the trailhead talking about the scavenger hunt, they're out there.
There are owls there.
They're out. Go get out there and have a hoot, you know. But yeah, so that one's been cool. We've had a really good turnout. We had some really good prizes up there. A lot of, I mean, there was gift cards and candy and toys, and it's been cool. People have loved it. So still be on the lookout for that. We were trying to get it in, before the kids got back to school and stuff, so they would, try to get them out there. And now that it's been cooled off a little bit, for a couple of days, because it was brutal there for like the first week we had it out there.
Now they need a snorkel.
Yeah, now they'll have to swim and find them. But yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on. And then after that, I mean, coming this fall, we'll do our trick or treat at the end of October. That's pretty much the next thing coming down the line. But we'll talk about that more as it gets closer to the fall. Yeah.
It's a little terrifying that we're already talking about Halloween.
I know.
Let's not.
Let's not even get into it.
One more month.
Let's talk more about the owls. But yeah, y'all, anybody got anything? Any event stuff? Any questions?
Not me.
Cool.
I think Christina, since we're on events, any updates on Habitat Builders?
So Habitat Builders has, their next event coming up is the Great Southeast Pollinator Census, or count, depends on. Anyway, it's a situation where you could go out to the park. We're going to be there from 1 to 3 in the afternoon on the 23rd of August. We'll be in the front pollinator garden. They're in the front parking lot. And I'll have forms. This sounds fun, right? Forms. That you can, and clipboards, that you can count bees. So we have sort of a structured way you do it. You pick a plant, and you count the bees that visit that plant for 15 minutes. And on the one hand, 15 minutes is not very long, and on the other hand, it's a long time to count bees. Because if you've got a really active plant, you could have hundreds of them. Because it's every time a bee lights. We're not going to say, this is George the bee, and this is Herman the bee. We're not going to do that. Whatever time they land. So anyway, we've done this. This will be the 3rd or 4th year we've done it, and it's a lot of cool. It's a cool time, and it's a citizen science project. So all of this information goes back in to scientists that are counting bees and trying to figure out which bees light on which plants and all that. So any age, we've had everything from really little kids all the way up to senior citizens do this. So it's something good for everybody.
And you'll direct folks to where?
Oh, I'll show them how to do it, and then we'll do a timer. We usually just scream, go, and then scream, stop, because everybody does have a phone. So that's a lot of fun. And then in September, on the 13th, we have a tree walk through the loop around the park. And it's a family engagement thing, so generally we're looking for families to do that, but honestly, I don't care who shows up if you want to go look at trees. And we have lots of them, and we'll talk about that. And Trees Union is going to join us, and I believe the village may be joining us too. We're working on a great big kind of tree party on the 13th of September. So those are the big things.
Show off the tree farm?
Yeah, yeah, the tree farm. Well, yeah, we could show off the tree farm. So we do have the little mini tree farm, but it has, I think we have live right now, probably 70 trees over there. We lost a couple.
Wow, that's great.
100-degree weather. They didn't care for that.
Yeah, so, I remember we had talked about,
We talked about
all the
doing-
different methods of doing it, and it's kind of like we just kind of went ahead and did.
Well, Habitat Builders is doing it, so, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but how has that experience been versus some of the challenges that we were looking at and things like that?
It works because I had a lot of pots laying around the house, right, to put plants in, and then other people are giving me trees and pots. People are just bringing trees and pots, sometimes together. So it becomes a soil problem. That's been one of the big issues. Where do we get soil that will work for this? Because it's not just any old kind of, you can't just dig it up out of the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, but they'll be dead. And then it's a heat problem and a watering, because you can overwater.
Especially in pots, it's hard to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Troop 99, Boy Scout Troop 99 is helping us with that. Is that you guys? Okay. They're helping us with watering those trees. So, and they've got a little sheet over there that they fill out every time somebody goes. So I've got them going every 3 days or so, however they've got it worked out. And they may not water. They've learned how to water. They may not have to. Today, they probably have to pour water off of it. But anyway, yeah, so they're keeping them alive. We had 4 scouts show up a couple weeks ago in the rain as well, and we potted up some trees in the
What
rain.
species have you got mostly?
We've got oak, a couple of different kinds of oak. We've got tulip poplars. We've got a couple of cherries. We're about to have a few more. We're going to have some red buds because they're at my house. They need to be moved.
I have some I can contribute.
Good.
A couple of dogwoods too.
Yeah, those are good. Those are nice understory trees. We did have some hickories. They're not doing too well in this situation. So I've
Yeah.
got to figure out what's going on. I think they're a taproot thing. Cedars.
Okay.
And I feel like I'm missing one, missing somebody in there. But the tulip poplars are doing great. Yeah.
And that's all going to be contained within the space we have in the.
So it's in the community garden
community garden, which is
in the
great.
back of the
Yeah.
community
Do we have
garden.
any signage to promote it?
No, so we were talking, Bob and Leanne with Habitat Builders and I were talking about that last night, and yeah, signs are on their way.
Great.
Because we want to put a sign on the community garden, because we manage that now, but we want to put one on the tree farm too, just like, this is not just a bunch of trees that showed up, there's a reason for this. kind of thing.
Great.
And our purpose, I didn't say that, our purpose with the tree farm was initially, we were going to grow trees for our Arbor Day events.
Yes.
Those are 5 to 8-year-old trees though, because we want big trees, right? And so that may not happen, because I'm not sure that we can keep them alive that long, but we're going to start giving them away, I think, too. So there'll be some free trees available, not all of them. We're going to try to keep some of them going.
Okay, so this is an ongoing, we're going to continue this and kind of, and then I guess, is there any kind of call to the community to bring seedlings into you? I know the Habitat does, but is that
No,
something?
because I've got plenty.
You don't, okay, not yet, okay. Once you need to replenish, you
Yeah,
might reach
I
out to us.
absolutely would call.
Okay.
And I did do a little mini call for pots, and because I knew some people who had some.
Okay.
And so I got plenty.
Okay, so we're good on the stock
Yeah.
today.
And when you talk about pots, are you just talking about like regular plastic,
There
3
was
to
a certain
5
size I
gallon?
needed, because we're in that in-between, like, everybody's got the gallon size, and I've got millions of those, but it was that next size up before we
Yeah.
put them in the I've got 7-gallon bags, then I'll have to get whatever the next, 15-gallon bags probably, then you
I
can't.
mean,
really-
these landscapers throw them out like crazy.
know.
So if you find the right connection,
That's true,
you'll have
yeah.
unlimited pots. So maybe something we can all kind of look out for.
I really need the
with
ones somewhere between, like a 2-3 gallon one.
Okay.
That was the,
Do you
but
still need them?
I think we're doing okay now, but, I mean, I'm not gonna turn them away.
Good, good.
Because
Clean
Yeah,
up
if we can put that word out even to people that have
Yes.
landscapers they work
we
with.
might have just.
Especially as you get into the fall, they do their kind of blanket, refreshes of all, a lot of the neighborhood things. They end up with tons of plants.
They tend to be the
buckets.
smaller pots though, which is
Yeah.
fine, but like I said, I've got tons of those. One thing we did learn with the newsletter that Habitat Builders does is that if you offer a free tree, people will read your article and contact you. So that happened. So we're gonna offer some more free plants, probably some black-eyed Susan later in the year, because there's some of those extra laying around.
I say we've learned if you give out free candy, you get people to attend events. So if you give out free plants.
So
you-
this is candy for plant people, right?
Exactly
Right.
right.
Speaking of that, I mean, as far as events and in the fall too, I mean, lots of times there are, plant exchanges and things like
Yeah.
that. Is that ever something we want to consider from either your point of view or from the village, to do a plant sale or a plant exchange?
Plant exchange, I would love to do a
Plant
plant
exchange.
exchange.
I would love to do it.
And what
That'd
time
be
of year would
awesome.
you recommend that? Maybe fall?
Spring.
So for perennials, I
Yes.
would do a fall one would be the best
When
time
you
to plant
separate,
things.
right? Or you can, okay.
That'd be the best best time to plant stuff, but spring is when most people are thinking about it, so you could do both.
Okay.
So like October and then maybe late April,
Okay.
would be great.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe we can kind of put some thoughts on that. I think that's another target of folks in the community to reach out to, a lot of the gardeners.
That's a great
you
idea.
know, So,
And it's something that I don't know that we'd have to use a lot of resources for, or things like
No,
that. We
just-
really just have to publish it
exactly.
and give the opportunity for people to meet at the park and, you know,
And everybody
share
gets a
those
free
things.
Rebecca. Or 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's take that as an action.
I
You and
like
I
that,
will
yeah,
connect
I
on
will.
that and see how we can put that into the
That's a
fall
great idea.
calendar. All right, anything
Seed
else?
exchange too.
Yes, on your events?
Probably, but I don't know.
Okay, so we're giving away free owl keychains and trees.
Yeah.
Okay. Tyler, that's it on event plan. Do you want to move on to the Trails and Greenway report?
Yeah, I don't really have anything for that right now.
We still have trails, we still have greenways.
Yes.
That's the report.
Well, I do have some feedback from a number of folks, not number, but a handful of folks who've been riding their bikes on the repaved surface, and a lot of good feedback saying how they noticed the difference in the smooth trails now on the Marvin Loop. So that's something that people were noticing and saying, wow, this is very different. I mean, I didn't realize how bad it was, but I guess, now that folks are seeing it.
That would be a big deal for
A cyclist,
Yeah.
right, I think it's more the folks who are riding, so, thank you. We did have one grant we recently received. I think Christina had mentioned to me that there was a matching grant we have. I don't know if that's in the last month or so, Tyler, is that one?
Was the Greater Trails,
Great, yeah.
It's the Greater Trails State Program. It's approximately $491,000 with a 100% match, so basically $500,000 match. Council has not accepted the grant as of yet. We have not formally presented that to them, but it is to finish the rest of the loop.
Okay, so that's, all right. Any other questions for Tyler? Thank you, thanks for all the hard work in getting Marvin night, or the night out moved.
Just if that was part of the Trails report,
Yes.
maybe I'll just share.
Sure.
One of the things I had committed to is that we had spoken about the Marvin Loop, and, as we approach, hopefully, completing that and so forth, at the Village Hall Park, we've discussed, perhaps a bench or a plaque of some sort to honor Mike Cognac, who had recently passed away and had served as a council member, as a mayor of the Village of Marvin, and was key to helping to kind of get that project off the ground. I had committed to providing a kind of draft of, something we might put on a plaque. I've struggled a little bit with how long or short it should be, because you're trying to be more to the point with something like that. But here's what I came up as a draft so far. Mike Cognac, Village of Marvin Council, 2001 to 2005, Village of Marvin Mayor, 2005 to 2007. The Marvin Loop has been dedicated to the memory of Mike Cognac. Mike was a faithful family man, active volunteer in the community, and dedicated public servant who helped lay out the long-term vision of the original Marvin Loop. Mike is remembered by family and friends for his ability to build consensus and work with others to help Marvin become the wonderful, thriving community it is today. So I just, if you have any feedback or other recommendations, please send them to me. And I know Christine is going to reach out to Chris Cognac and just run a couple of things by her, and I'll give you a copy of this
That'd be great.
to share as well.
John, if you can share that with me for the minutes, please.
Okay.
And
Well,
John,
I did, as a draft or,
Either way.
because we're
Just
still
so we have
working
record
on
of
it.
it.
Okay, sounds good.
I think the way you wrote it is that we're dedicating the loop to him as opposed to renaming, right? Is that the kind of the idea that will, and I think that makes sense. You're recommending to the council to dedicate that
Yeah, I
plaque is
don't
like
know
a
that we've
dedication.
really talked about renaming
Right,
it,
so
and that
that's
can
nice
be
the
a
way you
little
wrote it,
hokey
was
sometimes.
a
but-
dedication to his, on the
Yeah.
plaque, okay. And that's going to go to council, or once we get the wording, or is that already gone to?
It hasn't been in front of council. I think
Okay.
they'll be,
Yeah.
pretty much in agreement with what
Okay.
we come up with, but certainly we'll share that with them.
Right, and the intent is that would be part of the heritage, somewhere in the Village Hall Park, the plaque would go.
Correct.
So whether there's still the continuation of the loop in process, we could have a plaque at least, because the loop
Maybe it's
is-
on a bench, maybe it's
Yes.
on like a freestanding thing
Right,
or
so
something like that.
It's not dependent on the completion of phase 2 and 3.
Correct.
Thank you for doing that, that's really nice. Okay. Public Works report, Davey.
Good morning. I'd like to begin by giving a quick update on the Wounded Heroes project. This is just a little background on that. The Independence Fund and the Village of Marvin has been working together on a plan for a Wounded Heroes Memorial Courtyard for this property on Village Hall property. As of right now, council has looked at the sketches they provided, has provided feedback. We've since provided that feedback back to the Independence Fund, and they are taking those recommendations and moving forward with putting together some formal renderings of the courtyard, and we'll bring those back to staff, which we will get in front of council when that takes place. So just wanted to let everyone know that we're still moving forward with this project. It'll be a very nice and beautiful courtyard here on Village Hall property. So more information to come in the coming months. Next update I'd like.
Question on that, for the wounded, is that to recognize Marvin residents who were wounded? And is that, I mean, how does that, what is that, is like an individual recognition or just a kind of a general?
I think it's the intent is for both of those options, Marvin residents and really the community, the area.
Gotcha.
Just recognizing wounded heroes in this area. So it's moving along, and I think it's going to be a very nice project once it's completed.
I was just wondering, because I know like in downtown Waxhaw, they have like I think there's a wall where they have the individuals' names. Is that the idea? Is that what that's like, or is that something different?
There'll be a memorial wall incorporated in this courtyard, if you will, from the renderings that I've seen so far. So you'll have some benches around the courtyard itself. It's at the moment set to be constructed around the flagpole area. So maybe the flagpole would be the center of the actual courtyard, and then you'd have a wall with those for the memorials, plaques, and things like that. So
And that Independence Fund will fund it then, is that right? That they will-
that's the intent. They would be taking donations and for the materials, and then they would construct it and all that.
That's cool.
Any other questions on that? The next update I'd like to give is for the planting beds here at Village Hall. And I'll begin by saying a heartfelt thank you to Jen Castellucci. This has been an ongoing project for well over a year now. And she has been gracious in providing her time whenever I call upon her for her knowledge. She's been out quite a few times, kind of directing us where to place certain plants. It's been challenging getting plants that we would like to plant here, but we're steadily getting there. But where we're at now is we have a good map in place on where the plants are to be located. Last week, Public Works staff planted 10 plants. We had placed orders for another dozen plants, and they're on back order now. They're trying to find, our supplier's trying to find a supplier to provide the remaining plants. So in saying that, we will soon have those. It could be as late as the fall, is what we're being told. But now that we have a diagram, an overall plan of where those should be placed, we should be finishing up that pretty soon and adding to the beauty of the Village Hall building itself and the property. So again, I just wanted to say thank you to Jen, because I would say our staff's may not be gurus when it comes to landscaping, but we do our best. But Jen provides her expertise, and we certainly appreciate it. So we'll continue to enhance the beauty here at Village Hall Park as we move through this project.
Thank you, David. You guys have been doing a great, I mean, we haven't had the plants in because there's been so much other, soil reconditioning and so on and so forth and, whatever, but even with the empty, pockets, you guys have managed to keep it looking, neat and clean. And so as we go forward and fill in all of that, I'll be giving them sort of a maintenance plan, once you're fertilizing, once you're pruning and whatever, so that we can get it dialed in with, the watering schedule and the pruning schedule and so on. So once we get all those plants in.
Well, fall's better anyway.
Well, yeah, and I think it's just been, there've been, different priorities and budget constraints, you know what I mean? It was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, fall's better time to.
Yeah, and so it was like, when we originally changed out the soil, we meant to do the plants then, but then there was something else that happened, I think, and it got kind of put on a back burner, and so then by the time we were like, okay, now we're ready to put in the plants, it's midsummer, and, all the
great.
stock is out, so. But they've been really, really great about trying to track down the stuff we're missing, so, inch
Well,
by inch.
if you
getting
need
there.
some help, I may know somebody, but some of the stuff is really hard to find.
I think right now we're just trying to get some ruby slipper hydrangeas.
Those are really hard to find.
And I
I
think
said,
a few
they weren't,
junipers as well.
we have a few out, when we did the bed out front, we were able to source them.
Right.
And now suddenly it's tricky to get.
Let me think.
Yeah.
Because I've got a couple of other people who source things too.
Mm-hmm.
So they might know some people.
And this is for the existing beds, but when we start to build out the rest of the Village Hall Park, I think this is all gonna be in the same kind of, I know you, and Christine, have given input to kind of complement that, right? So that it's gonna continue the same.
Yeah, Village Hall Park's overall landscape design is, at least the basics of it is being proposed by the engineering firm, but
But you all gave input.
we are,
right?
yeah, we are definitely in control of substituting in and out
Okay.
and actually implementing that, because I think we're doing the landscaping ourselves on that.
Okay,
So we have absolute control over that ordering and install.
okay. So we'll just kind of
yeah,
continue
so we
on
can-
with
yeah,
the same-
it-
I'm just saying, because the thought you put into this will then be consistent. as
Yeah,
you
if
then
we can
build-
find more of those
Right.
hydrangeas, we can then put some of them out
That's what I
there
was
and
thinking,
tie
right,
it
to
together.
picture.
But if we can't, then maybe we need to find something that looks very similar to it, but is more,
That.
more available.
So your work is not done, Jen.
No, we're constantly adapting.
Good.
But anyway, you guys have done a really great job, trying to put it together little bit by little bit. So always happy to help.
Well, thank you very much. And the last update I'll provide, and for anyone that hasn't heard already, is with bittersweet emotions that I provide you the information that this would actually be my last meeting for this board. My last day with the Village of Marvin is this Thursday. I have recently accepted a position of a Public Works Director position with the City of York, South Carolina. So I will be joining them next week. So I just wanted to say how much I've appreciated serving in this role as a liaison for staff with this board. I've enjoyed working with each and every one of you. I've learned quite a bit from you, and I will take that experience into my next role, but just wanted to say thank you for all that you've done for me over the last 2 years. I've really enjoyed getting to know each of you and working with you on various projects. So thank you.
Thank you,
We feel the
Davey.
same.
Thank you, Davey.
We'll miss you.
Yes. And wonderful, your impact, not just in the work you do, but just even just your attitude in all the events at which you're at. I think, Dave, you just really have been kind of canvassed the whole community, so thank you for what you've done. All right, last up is the Village Council report. I know you gave the update on Mike. Anything else?
No, I think we've given what updates we can. Is there anything more we need to share? Yeah. We're continuing, some of the initiatives we talked about. We have heard in our work session that this other potential grant that we have to consider is coming down the line. But beyond that, nothing in particular.
Thank you. Austin, do we have any action items to review for today?
I only missed the one from your discussion over trees, so can you remind me what that one was?
I don't know either. That we're having an event on 9/13. Right now, it's a tree event, we're gonna call it.
Just make sure you send those details to Ptolemy so we can get that.
That's what I'm talking.
I think we were going to do an action item on doing a plant
Oh, and
exchange.
yeah, and a plant
a
exchange.
planning a plant exchange in the fall.
Just make sure that you get with us on those details so we can make sure that we have that ready.
We'll come up
I
with some
would love to
details.
give you some
We'll come up
details.
with some details.
We will be very heavy on communications going into the next few months with the survey and everything, so we just want to make sure that we have the capabilities to keep doing this level of communication.
Perfect. And any ongoing action items do we have?
We can check off turning off the lights.
Not check off, it's a continued job.
We're still be providing more, but other than that.
Actually, that was our light pollution, turn off the lights. We saw that in the communication, right?
Yes, somebody read it.
I read it, I saw it.
And then John already gave the draft of the inscription, the plaque inscription for Mike Cognac.
Okay,
So
great.
send him your feedback, but that's really it.
And I sent that to you already, Austin.
Thank you.
All right, and last up, we just have any board member comments. Anyone have anything else to add, questions, feedback?
Gonna miss Davy.
Yes,
York's lucky.
yes. We are very much going to miss your very calm, very can-do attitude, especially with Marvin Day and all of it. So, yeah, big shoes to fill, big shoes to fill.
With me now.
Yes, Davey, we'll miss you. We're sorry to see you go.
Thank you. I'll miss each and every one of you.
All right, anything else from the council, the board? Okay, with that, I make a motion to, I'm sorry, I do have one more question, quick question. Our next meeting is the day after Labor Day. I believe we will still expect to have a quorum at that time. Austin, do we need to do anything at this point? We will just reinforce?
Your meeting is scheduled, so if you know you're not going to be here, you need to let me know, but we don't need to do anything, the meeting's scheduled.
Gotcha. Yep, okay. All righty then. With that, I make a motion to adjourn today's meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Meeting adjourned at 9:42.
Good job.
All right, thanks.